Today we're going to be taking a look at sus chords, add chords, major 7, major 9, all the chords that people tend to get confused with when you don't need to. It's super simple. If you haven't checked out my music theory playlist that covers intervals, inversions, harmonizing the major scale, now would be a good time to do that. Watch them again, like them, and then like them again, and then come back here and we can talk more about chords. Now, just before we take a deep dive into Guitar George's chord collection, please take a moment to hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell next to it, and leave a comment. Honestly, every little click helps me out. Every little letter, every little emoji. I love it. You know I like to reply to nearly everyone. And if I miss you, well, I probably didn't like what you wrote, but that's between me and you. Anyway, do it. It really does help out the channel. Thank you. So we've established that a major chord has 3 notes in it, a triad: root, major third, perfect fifth. If that was in the key of A, it would go like this: A, C sharp, E. If we play that A major in open position, 5-note chord, obviously some of those notes are repeated. We've talked about this before. In this case, we've got root, fifth, root again, major third, perfect fifth again. So let's first take a look at suspended chords, A sus2 and A sus4. Now, the one thing you need to remember when it comes to sus chords is the fact that we replace the major third with the major second for sus2 and with the perfect fourth for sus4. So this A major shape here, we said we had the major third on the B string, the note C sharp, and it only appeared once. The major second interval in the key of A is a B, it's a tone above the root. So we can lift that third finger off and replace our major third with the second. Now we've got roots, seconds, and fifths, A sus2. If you want to create an A sus4, it's the exact same concept, except we're going to be going higher than the major third. Now, the perfect fourth in the key of A is a D. When we put the A shape on, C sharp is the major third. Well, we know that D is next to that, a semitone above, so adding that in creates A sus4. Root, perfect fourth, perfect fifth. It's that simple. Now, moving on to add chords, this is where a lot of people get confused, because you may have seen chords written down such as A add 2 or A add 9. The first thing you need to understand there is that the major second and the major ninth are the same note. They're just an octave apart. So in the key of A, we now know that that's B, okay? So is an A sus2 the same as an A add 2? No. The difference for the add chord is that we have the major third back in there. Another thing to be aware of is that certain chord voicings on the guitar can be really difficult to play and in some cases impossible. Plus, putting the second in the base of a chord might kind of give it a really muddy bottom end, and it would make more sense to play the ninth. It's the same note, but just in the higher octave. A good example of that would be the A sus2 that we just learned. It's a sus2, suspended second, but the actual B that we put in, it came from the second octave, because obviously our lower octave would only be a tone above the root. And we can't play that because it's on the same string. Now, in terms of forming the A add 9 or A add 2, as you might sometimes see it written, we can start with our A major shape. We know that we need to keep the major third. So that C sharp on the B string isn't going anywhere because it only appears in the chord once. we have an octave of the A on the G string, 2nd fret. So if we move a tone above that, it's a bit of an awkward shape with the pinky. That would give us an A add 9 or an A add 2, but you've technically put the B in the 2nd octave, okay? This chord sounds like Neighbours or Prince, but mostly like Neighbours. Now, the add 9 was the most long-winded explanation you're going to get here, but it's just really important that you understand the 2nd and the 9th are the same interval, just an octave apart. And the inclusion of the major 3rd this time is why add 2 and add 9 are different to sus2. So what's a major 7 chord then? Well, we've just covered that because we did a lesson on 7th chords, so I'm hoping you already know that. It's a root, a 3rd, a 5th, and the major 7. Now we know that our A chord has an extra root note in the middle, so if we flatten that to the major 7th, we've got A major 7. So what's a major 9 chord then? Isn't that just the same as add 9? Kind of, but in the same way that sus2 was different to add 2 or add 9, major 9 is different to add 9. A major 9 has a root, a major 3rd, perfect 5th, major 7th, major 9th. Now that's a lot of notes and not that many fingers, so you may find that certain voicings on the guitar will leave certain notes out, even the root in some cases. Now for an A major 9, we know that we need a major 7th in there, the G sharp, and we also need the major 9th, or the 2nd, which is the note B. But we were playing both of those notes on the same string before. So is there somewhere else that we can play one of them to voice this chord? If I use my A add 9 shape as a bass, I can see that I've got 2 perfect 5ths in there, the note E, 2nd fret of the D string, and the high open E. If I use my pinky to grab that G sharp on the 4th fret of the high E, which was our major 7th, I've now got A major 9, root, major 3rd, perfect 5th, major 7th, major 9th. In this particular voice in here, the order goes root, perfect 5th, major 9th, major 3rd, major 7th. I don't know if you noticed them, but 3 of the intervals I called out could actually be played on open strings, the A, the B, and the E. So here's a voicing I like to use for A major 9. If you take the 2nd and the 3rd fingers and move them to the 6th fret of the D and the G, that's your G sharp and your C sharp. If you strum from the open A to the top E, you get a nice open A major 9 voicing. And I'd encourage you to mess around and experiment and find some voicings of your own that you really like. So let's just have a quick listen to some of the shapes that you might have confused before and see if you can hear the difference in harmony. So an A sus2 and an A add 2 or an A add 9. Big difference. Without the major 3rd, the sus chord just kind of sounds unresolved, suspended in space. And the add 9, add 2, sounds like a really happy scene from Neighbours or Home and Away, as I mentioned. The major 3rd just fills it with cheer, doesn't it now? That's when someone drowns in the first 10 seconds. Sad episode. Now let's listen to the difference between the add 9 and the major 9. Remember, the major 9 had the extra major 7th in there. Here's the add 9 and the major 9. Add 9 again, and the other major 9. So the major 7th interval makes a huge difference in there. It kind of fills the chord with just a little bit more magic. And believe me, after the past couple of years we could all do with a little bit more magic in our lives. So you better get your guitars out and you better start practicing these chords. Because if you don't, I'm going to be fuming, right? Absolutely fuming. Right, let's play each one in order. Here's a major chord. sus2, sus4, major 7, add 9, major 9, other major 9. Beautiful. Can you do that? If you can't, well, that's probably because you don't have this lovely PDF. Two-sided, which you can get on my Patreon. Comes with some extra little notes from me, crap jokes as always, and it's about £5. And if you can't afford a £5, well, I'm sorry about that. Now before I go, remember, if you like this video, then actually like it. Liking this video makes a huge difference. Hit subscribe, hit the bell next to it, and make sure you leave me a comment telling me what you liked, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But honestly, those extra little clicks go a long way to pushing this video out there. If you think it might benefit a friend, someone who only knows one chord, yeah, I think that you'll benefit from this video. Put it in a text. Come on, you only know one chord. It's about time you learn at least 5 or 6 more with this guy with dip dye hair and crap jokes. But yeah, that's it from me. Oh, actually, just reminded me, I've got something for you.